Well, good evening. We're at the historic 1816 Courthouse in downtown Springfield for Election Coverage 24. Hi, everybody. I'm Hal Good. Glad to be alongside with you this evening as, again, Election Day has finally arrived in Kentucky and the nation for right now. And voters in all around the area, especially in the state of Kentucky and in Washington County, have had plenty to decide. And we're going to be talking about what's happening in Washington County here this evening. I'm joined by John Graves. Roger Gribbins is here alongside with me. And again, I think some of the things that we're going to tell you about is the successes here in Washington County, which one, even around the state, is early voting. There's no question about the early voting that took place in Kentucky this year, how successful that's been. The other thing we're going to talk about are the long lines for the elections. We have had definitely long lines. Roger will tell you more about Nelson County as we go through it and how the lines are long there. I know I drove through Boyle County on Thursday, and I bet there were 80 people outside one of the polls I drove through. So it's been a tremendous turnout and maybe one of the biggest in history, I would say. And I use that loosely, but it's going to be a big turnout indeed. I turn to my colleagues here this evening, John Graves, Roger Gribbins. And John, I talked about early voting, first of all, and I just think the idea was questionable during COVID, but boy, has really turned out this year to, I think, be one of the success stories of the election this year.
Vote early, vote. Just make sure you get a vote, and having voter access, it lets people's voices be heard, and I think that's important. Don't have the entire, Brett, can you tell me off the top of your head what the registered vote count here is in Washington County? 9561. So that means in early voting, give or take, don't hold me to math, 25% voted before today's election. So that's going to lead to higher voting. Washington County tends to vote, especially in presidential election, around 55%. I would expect that vote total tonight is going to be 75 plus.
Well, and talking to our county clerk about it, Sunday night we were talking about just the turnout. And Roger, here in Washington County alone, close to over 25% of the registered voters in Washington County had already voted.
Oh, early voting is big, not only in Washington County, but around central Kentucky.
Hold on,
We'll get you going.
Live TV, baby.
That's right. Yeah, it's live and free. So what do you expect here? Is we do have some numbers coming up for you. We'll talk to you about that in just a moment. Go ahead, Rob.
But yeah, early voting not only big in Washington County, but around central Kentucky. You know, I'm over in Bardstown in Nelson County, and early voting taking place at the Nelson County Public Library. Just long lines throughout the whole early voting period. And I'm like you, Hal. I think it's a big story of the election this year.
Let's go into some of the details because, coming up on your screen now, and again, we're going to tell you the numbers that we have here. We'll verify those numbers when we're complete. But, John, we've come up with a system here that we can bring you up a chance for you to see the numbers that we have tallied here. And Carol Kelly will be going to him in just a moment and giving you his live version because here at Washington County, they read all the votes. So we've been able to take the votes that are already in, which we've got the early voting numbers that are here. We've also got the absentee numbers that are here. And that's what you're seeing on your screen right now as we go through. Now, there'll be some races that have no opposition that we will probably not be focusing on.
Correct.
But we are definitely going to focus on those that have opposition, John.
Yeah, you're really looking top of the ticket for the presidential race. There's two contested races in the U.S. Congressional District, James Comer and Aaron Marshall. Also, the state representative, Kim King, has opposition with Katrina Sexton. And then you kind of slide all the way down to the fun stuff, and that's amendments 1 through 4. And we'll be talking about more of those. We do have a lot of the early voting in that has been tabulated. One of the good things about it, the early voting is we get it pretty quick. We got it right at 6:10 today as we were, trying to get things ready to go. So a lot of votes in, but that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on. Also, there is City of Willisburg, City of Mikeville, and City of Springfield. All those votes are uncontested. We will list those out, but the other ones that are uncontested, we just for sake of time.
So if you see the screen, it's really easy to follow us as we go through. These are the absentees that we have and the early voting. So when you see percentages, it's based on those numbers that you see right now that'll be on your screen for like the yes, no on any of our amendments that we have that we'll be looking through this evening.
And, you know, there's 14 precincts here in Washington County. There are 5 voting centers, and you can poll and vote anywhere you want to in those areas. So, you know, I live in the south end of the county, but if I want to go to Mackville to vote, I could. I voted on Saturday, so I avoided all that. So when you see on our screen locations reporting, that's the absentee and then the 5 voting centers.
And I think, you know, these, and COVID was the start of the discussion of it, but being able to vote at any precinct, whether it be your own or another one in any community, Roger, that convenience factor also, I think, adds to the amount of people that are coming out to vote in these elections.
Oh, I think it's been this year like the perfect storm between the convenience of voting using any of the voting locations, and also, of course, the races themselves. So I think that's contributed, of course, to the huge turnout that I think we're expecting all around the area this year.
So let's talk about a couple of these amendments. And again, you see the numbers below, and we'll be going back to Carol Kelly as some of the other districts start coming in, and you'll see it, you'll just hear it live right here on G&G Productions. Make sure if you're watching on Facebook this evening, make sure to like and share this broadcast so we can put everyone out that the Washington County numbers can be seen right here on G&G Productions. But again, Washington County Middle School is one of the voting precincts or voting locations. Holy Trinity Parish Center in Fredericktown, Mackville Community Center in Mackville, the North Washington School in Willisburg, and then the Washington County Extension Office. So those precincts now, John, are within this area, and that's where we're seeing everyone go to vote right now, except for some of the early voting was done here at the courthouse.
Yeah, and that, again, it just the convenience factor, as I said earlier, having the ability for people to get out and vote and let their voices be heard is important. And I think it also makes people are following it a lot more with social media and the access to everything. So
let's look at some of these constitutional amendments. And again, I think there's been a lot of discussion on it. Kentucky Amendment number 1 would add one line to 2 different sections, 145, 155 of the state's constitution. Basically, it says no person who is not a citizen of the United States shall be allowed to vote in this state. And non-citizens are already prohibited from voting under the federal election law. So according to Secretary of State Michael Adams, the policy of his office is the State Board of Elections and our county clerks is that non-citizens are not permitted to vote in any Kentucky election. So kind of a different amendment there to get things started.
It is, and that's it was an amendment we put on the ballot. Non-citizens aren't voting; they haven't voted, and that's nationwide. You know that when you look at the 2020 election, that's been vetted and done.
Lots of talk about constitutional amendment number 2 from Kentucky. It would reallocate some taxpayer dollars from public schools into private or charter schools. Opponents, of the constitutional amendment, they argue it lacks specifics, while others are concerned about charter schools' regulations on mental health and disabilities. Critics are also concerned over racial discrimination and some of the things I've read about on either one of those pieces. But that one seems, Roger, to have a little bit more meat to it for the public to really come in whenever you start talking about public and private schools.
Exactly, and you've seen a lot of money spent on both sides, Hal and John, on advertising. So this is going to be a big amendment, and that's going to be talked about for a while after tonight's results. But statewide result, we'll have to see. But again, a lot of money spent on advertising both sides.
Also, we've got the question for Washington Countyans, which it's not going to be in every county in the state of Kentucky, but one's going to be in several. It's going to be what we will call this evening Amendment number 3 from the courthouse here, as Carol Kelly will be reading those in a few moments. Are you in favor of the sale of medical cannabis at a licensed dispensary and the operation of other cannabis businesses in Washington County? So there again, John, a decision for the public to make on this, where some counties chose to make their decision themselves. This one's on the poll.
It is, and it's been a pretty resounding, as we'll get into the numbers here in a minute, on a couple of these amendments, how Washington Countyans feel.
And we'll be under amendment number 4 on the other question, which basically says, Roger, are you in favor of the sale of alcoholic beverages in Washington County, Kentucky? Washington County has always been titled a moist community, as Springfield is wet. We do have some areas that have been voted in to sell wine through magisterial districts, as a matter of fact. But there again, the vote today is going to be, is Washington County wet or dry?
Exactly. You've got parts of the community, parts of the county, I should say, that maybe lean one way or the other, but we've got some interesting numbers coming up from the early voting.
A lot of folks still go back to Prohibition, talk about, the reasoning for not having alcohol. Others these days, John, talk about economic development. And if you drove through Springfield lately and seen the rick houses, the advantages of tourism that are associated with that in general, they feel like as venues come up, that alcohol is going to be more prevalent for the success of restaurants and tourists just coming to the community.
Well, quite frankly, you can't be in the middle of the Bourbon Trail and not be able to taste some of the fine Kentucky bourbon that's in this area. I know you worked in Danville for several years, and you saw the impact that made, because Boyle County was the same way. Danville the city was wet and the county was dry, and they've changed that, and the explosion that's provided Danville, what it's done in the Hardin County market has been just more restaurants. And I don't have the numbers in front of me to talk about what the after effects are, but I don't know that it's changed it enough that it would be detrimental to have it.
And that's been, we were talking earlier, that's been that way for some time, right? With Springfield being wet and most of the county being dry.
1929?
Many years. And you were talking about Boyle County earlier. Wilderness Trace, a distillery there, has had many expansions, no differ than what we've seen in Bardstown. Mm-hmm. You think 10, 15 years ago in Bardstown, look at the tremendous growth they've had in the bourbon business. Now you're seeing that growth not only start to spill over into Washington County, but just take Maker's Mark. Over in Loretta, nearby Marion County. And now Marion County themselves have more distilleries that are locating there on the bypass.
And you and I I think all three of us can remember what Maker's Mark looked like 15 years ago. And the size of it now that the road went right by the plant, and if they were backing a corn truck in, you couldn't go by the plant. And now they've got they've built an entire road and an entire visitor center.
Again, we're not saying for or against. We're just basing our opinions that's what's out there. And if you look at Maker's Mark, you're talking about back about 6 months ago, they got a huge tourism grant to go in and restructure the Maker's Mark for more of a visitor center with restaurant, and they've already got that. But I mean, they're looking at a huger venue there at Maker's Mark.
Also, you're seeing these distilleries pop up too in some of the smaller communities that maybe you've never even heard of around the state. So bourbon's a big deal for Kentucky.
So, and I think that's what the folks in Washington County, especially those that were proponents of this, were definitely saying there is some economic value in this to be on the polls and for Washington County to be wet.
I think so, and the voters have spoken.
You can see again at the bottom of your screen, we do have basically we have your early voting and absentees. That's all we have right now. More numbers will be coming in, and the way they do it here at Washington County is what I said earlier. Carol Kelly will be emceeing those numbers as we go through those, and we'll be going right to him live. You'll have those numbers. We've got one of our production associates, Maddie Smith, who'll be putting those numbers in. So as those numbers are generated, they'll be generated below, and you'll be able to see how many of the precincts have reported in. 2 right now, and also you'll see there for the sale of medical cannabis, that right there it says 55% yes, 28% no. Those numbers will be coming up and scrolling as we go through the numbers. As we add new numbers, those percentages will change. And also, we'll be able to keep you up to date right on spot with the numbers that come in.
And I do want to note that some of the math may not math exactly, because some people chose not to participate in those races. So they may not end up at 100%. There were some people that just skipped those if they didn't know enough about it or didn't feel comfortable with it. So that's why you'll see some disparity in the numbers where they're not adding up completely.
And you'll notice we put on their unofficial Washington County results. We hope to have those official results for you when our broadcast is complete, when we have have all the numbers. We get to match those numbers up with the numbers received from the county clerk's office, and those numbers are all validated and numbers that you can at least have a good idea on if it's a close race in any means and any stretch of the imagination, if you like.
I've seen some close
But
races,
some
Hal.
of the numbers you're seeing here, just for the Washington County numbers, tell you that some of these races are probably going to be called early. Just from what we've seen here in Washington County, a strong Republican turnout, as you see there. Comer and Marshall, just with 2 precincts in already. Comer at 68% to Marshall's 29%, as he's representing this area. And again, that's the first congressional district that we have for the representative for Congress. The other we're following is the 55th district, state rep. These are Washington County numbers only. Part of Kim King's, she's the incumbent, as I mentioned a moment ago. Her territory runs in Mercer County, as well parts of Jessamine County, Wilmore area, so she'll have some of those. We hope to get some of those numbers for you as well, to give you a good idea of how that is all going to sum up at the end of this broadcast.
Yeah, and it takes time when you're getting it from different areas. It's almost 7 o'clock. The polls in Western Kentucky are getting ready to close. You'll see some of the national media start to call some of these races for Kentucky, just because we are a ruby red state. I mean, there's especially when you look at the national polls on it. But the one thing they do here in Washington County that they don't do in Marion County that we've covered before is that I'm going to harken back to the reading of the polls. We're in the 1816 courthouse, and I always have enjoyed being down here for the actual reading. They post them out on the wall, and you can get the numbers out there, or you can come in here and listen to Mr. Kelly, and he'll give you. And there's some nostalgia about that, Hal.
Roger, you and I were down here in 1989 with old WMQQ and that crazy Helen McNeil when she was down here.
That's right.
I think she broke about 4 number 2 pencils trying to do that coverage back then. But anyway, this is our election coverage. We're glad you could join us, and we are not professionals. We're pundits in this. So as we start talking about some of these races, we're just giving you the information that we've taken in. Like I posed to Roger, really interesting to see the large turnout that's coming in. But I think this presidential race, for the amount of money that's been spent on it, it's really interesting to see, especially on that presidential race, with the change from Biden to Harris, and now the strong run by Trump and the strong push by both of these presidential candidates. The past 2 weeks has just been amazing. And what amazes me more than anything is, they're really looking at which states that maybe we can get more than the total amount of votes, which I think that's how your presidential races are looked at anymore.
Exactly, and I think it's going to be a late night tonight for this presidential race, because some of the states already, I believe Pennsylvania is pushing their polling time to stop time at 10 p.m. I think we've got more numbers coming.
Let's go to Carol Kelly with some more numbers that we have for you.
Let's see, this is General Election with the Extension Office. General election held on Washington County Extension Office, ballot counter 323. Straight party ticket, Republican Party, 112 votes. Democratic Party, 26 votes. Kentucky Party, no votes. Libertarian Party, no votes. President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, 255 votes. Kamala Harris, 57 votes. Jill Stein, 2 votes. Robert Kennedy, 3 votes. Ayyadurai, no votes. Chase Oliver, no votes, 2 write-ins. United States Representative in Congress, 1st Congressional District, James Comer, 252 votes. Aaron Marshall, 64 votes. Write-ins, none. State Representative, 55th District, Kim King, 250 votes. Trina Sexton, 59 votes. Commonwealth's Attorney, 11th Judicial Circuit, Shelley Miller, 243 votes, write-ins 2. Circuit Court Clerk, Joanne Mudd Miller, 189 votes, write-ins 5. County Surveyor, write-ins 11. Constable, 1st Magisterial District, write-ins 2. Constable, 2nd Magisterial District, write-ins 4. Constable, 3rd Magisterial District, write-ins 2. Constable, 4th Magisterial District, write-ins none. Constable, 6th Magisterial District, write-ins, 1. Board of Education, Raymond S. Canterbury, 17 votes, write-ins, none. Member of Board of Education, 4th Educational District, Kanisa Harley, 29, write-ins, none. Member Board of Education, 5th Education District, Sherry Chesser, 56, write-ins, 1. City Commissioners, City of Maxwell, William Cloyd, none. Linda Anderson, none. Nathan Cochran, none. Heather Reynolds, none. Write-ins, none. City Council, City of Springfield, Michael Hale, 33. Daniel Bishop, 20. Lance Smith, 22. John Pettis, 25. Joe Willie Ellery, 21. Carolyn Harden, 22. Write-ins, none. City Council, City of Willisburg, Herman Wade Meldon, none. Timothy Brett McAvoy, none. Write-ins, none. Constitutional Amendment number 1, yes votes 215, no votes 80. Constitutional Amendment number 2, yes votes 121, no votes 193. Question, Washington County Cannabis, yes 209, no 101. Question, Washington Wet or Dry, yes 237, no 79, and total ballots cast 323. And I have one more has just been delivered to. Okay. This one, general election held in Washington County at the Washington County Extension Office. Ballot counter, 300. Straight party ticket, Republican Party, 106. Democratic Party, 25. Kentucky Party, 1. Libertarian Party, 1. President of the United States, Donald Trump, 239. Kamala Harris, 54. Jim Stein, none. Robert Kennedy, 5. Siva Aradurai, none. Chase Oliver, none. Write-ins, none. United States Representative in Congress, 1st District, James R. Comer, 242. Aaron Marshall, 50. State Representative, 55th Representative District, Kim King, 243. Katrina Sexton, 52. Commonwealth's Attorney, 11th Judicial Circuit, Shelley Miller, 245. Write-ins, none. Circuit Clerk, Joanne Miller, 183. Write-ins, 4. County Surveyor, write-ins, 11. Constable, 1st Magisterial District, write-ins, 1. Constable, 2nd Magisterial District, write-ins, 4. Constable, 3rd Magisterial District, write-ins, none. Constable, 4th Magisterial District, write-ins, 1. Constable, 6th Magisterial Districts, no write-ins. Member Board of Education, 3rd Education District, Raymond S. Canterbury, 21. Write-ins, 1. Member Board of Education, 4th Education District, Canissa Harley, 34. Write-ins, 1. Member Board of Education, 5th Education District, Sherry Chesser, 52. Write-ins, 1. City Commissioner, City of Maxwell, William Cloyd, no votes. Linda Anderson, none. Nathan Cochran, none. Heather Reynolds, none. Write-ins, none. City Council, City of Springfield, J. Michael Hale, 30. Daniel Bishop, 25. Lance Smith, 28. John Pettis, 23. Joe Willie Ellery, 20. Carolyn Harden, 20. Write-ins, 1. City Council, City of Willisburg, Herman Wade Medley, none. Timothy Brent McElroy, none. Write-ins, none. Constitutional Amendment number 1, yes, 189, no, 90. Constitutional Amendment number 2, yes, 134, no, 154. Questions, Washington County Cannabis, yes, 184, no, 100. Question, Washington County wet dry, yes, 230, no, 60. I think we have one more. This one, I haven't read this yet. Let me get this. Let me see. Oh, we got two there. Hold on to that one. This is the general election at Holy Trinity Parish Center Gym. Public ballot counter, 105 votes. Straight party ticket. Republican Party, 41. Democratic Party, 8. Kentucky Party, 1. Libertarian Party, 1. President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, 91. Kamala Harris, 11. Jim Stein, none. Robert Kennedy Jr., 2. Shiva Ayyadurai, none. Chase Oliver, none. Write-ins, 1. United States Representative in Congress, 1st Congressional District, James Comer, 89. Aaron Marshall, 13. Write-ins, none. State Representative, 55th Representative District, Kim King, 87. Katrina Sexton, 14. Write-ins, none. Commonwealth's Attorney, 11th Judicial Circuit, Shelley Miller, 87. Write-ins, none. Circuit Clerk, Joanne Mudd Miller, 62. Write-ins, 3. County Surveyor, write-ins, 4. Constable, 1st Magisterial District, write-ins, 4. Constable, 2nd Magisterial District, write-ins, none. Constable, 3rd Magisterial District, write-ins, none. Constable, 4th Magisterial District, write-ins, none. Constable, 6th Magisterial District, write-ins, 4. Member, Board of Education, 3rd Education District, Raymond S. Canterbury, none. Write-ins, none. Member, Board of Education, 4th Education District, Carissa Harley, 2. Write-ins, none. Member, Board of Education, 5th Education District, Sherry Chesser, 3. Write-ins, none. City Commissioner, City of Maxville, none. Linda Anderson, none. Nathan Cochran, none. Heather Reynolds, none. Write-ins, none. City Council, City of Springfield, Michael Hale, none. Daniel Bishop, none. Lance Smith, none. John Pettis, none. Joe Willie Ellery, 1. Carolyn Harden, 1. No write-ins. City Council, City of Willisburg, Herman Wade Medline, none. Timothy Brett McAvoy, none. Write-ins, none. Constitutional Amendment number 1, yes, 80, no, 16. Constitutional Amendment number 2, yes, 43, no, 58. Question, Washington County cannabis, yes, 78, no, 27. Question, Washington County wet dry, yes, 86, no, 18. Let's see what's the next one. This one here. Oh, okay. Let's see, Washington general election, Holy Trinity Parish Center. We didn't do this one yet, did we? No, we haven't done it. Okay. Parish Center, ballot counter, 343. Straight party ticket, Republican Party, 106. Democratic Party, 36. Kentucky Party, 3. Libertarian Party, 3. President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, 263. Kamala Harris, 66. Jim Stein, 1. Robert Kennedy, 2. Shiva Ayyadurai, 1. Chase Oliver, 4. Write-ins, 1. U.S. Representative in Congress, 1st Congressional District, James Comer, 268. Aaron Marshall, 60. No write-ins. State Representative, 55th Representative District, Kim King, 277. Katrina Sexton, 52. Write-ins, none. Commonwealth's Attorney, 11th Judicial Circuit, Shelley Miller, 275. Write-ins, none. Circuit Clerk, Joanne Mudd Miller, 226. Write-ins, 3. County Surveyor, write-ins, 9. Constable, First Magisterial District, 5 write-ins. Constable, Second Magisterial District, no write-ins. Constable, Third Magisterial District, no write-ins. Constable, Fourth Magisterial District, no write-ins. Constable, Sixth Magisterial District, 15 write-ins. Member, Board of Education, Third Education District, Raymond S. Canterbury, 1. Write-ins, none. Member, Board of Education, Fourth Education District, Carissa Harley, 8. Write-ins, none. Member, Board of Education, Fifth Education District, Sherry Chesser, 6. Write-ins, none. City Commissioner, City of Mackville, William Cloyd, none. Linda Anderson, none. Nathan Cochran, none. Heather Reynolds, none. Write-ins, none. City Council, City of Springfield, Michael Hale, 3. Daniel Bishop, 4. Lance Smith, 3. John Pettis, 2. Joe Willie Ellery, 2. Carolyn Harden, 3. 2 write-ins. City Council, City of Willisburg, Herman Wade Medlin, none. Timothy Brent McAvoy, none. Write-ins, none. Constitutional Amendment number 1, yes, 221. No, 95. Constitutional Amendment number 2, yes, 137. No, 191. Question, Washington County Cannabis, yes, 259. No, 65. Question, Washington Wet Dry, yes, 285. No, 46. Total ballots cast, 343. One there, two. Got 2 there, don't we? So that's all right. General election held Washington County Elementary School. Let's see. The ballot counter, 941. Straight Party, Republican Party, 336. Democratic Party, 158. Kentucky Party, 8. Libertarian Party, 5. President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, 675. Kamala Harris, 250. Jill Stein, 3. Robert Kennedy, 7. Ira Durai, 1. Chase Oliver, none. Write-ins, 2. United States Representative in Congress, 1st Congressional District, James Comer, 656. Aaron Marshall, 258. Write-ins, 1. State Representative, 55th Representative District, Kim King, 653. Katrina Sexton, 259. Write-ins, 1. Commonwealth's Attorney, 11th Judicial Circuit, Shelley Miller, 720. Write-ins, 8. Circuit Clerk, Washington County, Joanne Mudd Miller, 643. Write-ins, 10. County Surveyor, write-ins, 49. Constable, 1st Magisterial District, write-ins, 8. Constable, 2nd Magisterial District, write-ins, 7. Constable, 3rd Magisterial District, write-ins, 2. Constable, 4th Magisterial District, write-ins, 15. Constable, 6th Magisterial District, write-ins, 10. Member, Board of Education, 3rd Education District, Raymond S. Canterbury, 34. Write-ins, none. Member, Board of Education, 4th Education District, Carissa Harley, 223. Write-ins, 3. Member, Board of Education, 5th Education District, Sherry Chesser, 159. Write-ins, 2. City Commissioners, City of Mackville, William Cloyd, none. Linda Anderson, none. Nathan Cochran, none. Heather Reynolds, none. No write-ins. City Council, City of Springfield, Michael Hale, 197. Daniel Bishop, 146. Lance Smith, 145. John Pettis, 120. Joe Willie Ellery, 163. Carolyn Harden, 153. Write-ins, 12. City Council, City of Willisburg, Herman Wade Medlin, 1. Timothy Brent McAvoy, 2. Write-ins, none. Constitutional Amendment number 1, yes, 563, no, 310. Constitutional Amendment number 2, yes 307, no 592. Question, cannabis, Washington County, yes 673, no 237. Question, Washington County, wet dry, yes 746, no 175. Total count, total votes cast 941. Let's see, which one's that? This one, okay. Next precinct. Washington County Elementary, election, ballot counter 413 votes. Straight party ticket, 153 Republicans, Democratic Party 72, Kentucky Party 4, Libertarian Party 4, and President and Vice President of the United States, Donald Trump 298, Kamala Harris 111, Jill Stein none, Robert Kennedy 2, Ashiva Al-Radai none, Chase Oliver 1, write-ins none. United States Representative in Congress, 1st Congressional District, James Comer 288, Aaron Marshall 115. State Representative, 55th Representative District, Kim King 295, Katrina Sexton 110. Commonwealth's Attorney, 11th Judicial Circuit, Shelley Miller 326. Circuit Court Clerk Joanne Miller 297, write-in 7. County Surveyor, write-in 16. Constable, 1st Magisterial District, write-ins 2. Constable, 2nd Magisterial District, write-ins 1. Constable, 3rd Magisterial District, write-ins 4. Constable, 4th Magisterial District, write-ins 3. Constable, 6th Magisterial District, write-ins 2. Member, Board of Education, 3rd Education District, Raymond S. Canterbury, 18 votes, write-ins none. Member, Board of Education, 4th Education District, Carissa Harley, 113, write-ins 1. Member, Board of Education, 50th Education District, Sherry Chesser, 62, write-ins 1. City Commissioners of the City of Mackville, William Floyd, none. Linda Anderson, none. Nathan Cochran, 1. Heather Reynolds, none. Write-ins, none. City Council, City of Springfield. J. Michael Hale, 95. Daniel Bishop, 80. Lance Smith, 71. John Pettis, 73. Joe Willie Ellery, 81. Carolyn Harden, 74, 1 write-in. City Council, City of Willisburg, Herman Medine, nothing. Timothy McAvoy, nothing. Write-ins, nothing. Constitutional Amendment number 1, yes, 238, no, 141. Constitutional Amendment number 2, yes, 129, no, 268. Question, Washington County Cannabis, yes, 304, no, 90. Question, Washington Wet Dry, yes, 323, no, 80. And we got some more. Hang it up. Next one. This is North Washington School. The total ballot count 757. Straight party tickets. Republican Party 365. Democratic Party 48. Kentucky Party 2. Libertarian Party 3. President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, 642. Kamala Harris, 96. Jill Stein, 1. Robert Kennedy, 6. Aradurai, none. Oliver, 4. Write-ins, 3. Representative in Congress, 1st Congressional District, 638 for James Comer. Aaron Marshall, 101. Write-ins, none. State Representative of the 55th Representative District, Kim King, 641. Katrina Sexton, 96, no write-in. Commonwealth's Attorney, 11th Judicial Circuit, Shelley Miller, 644, write-ins 5. Circuit Clerk, Joanne Mudd Miller, 366, write-ins 18. County Surveyor, write-ins 38. A Constable, 1st Magisterial District, write-ins 12. Constable, 2nd Magisterial District, write-ins 7. Constable, 3rd Magisterial District, write-ins 20. Constable, 4th Magisterial District, write-ins none. Constable, 6th Magisterial District, write-ins none. Member, Board of Education, 3rd Education District, Robert S. Canterbury, 78, write-ins 2. Board of Education, 4th Education District, Carissa Harley, 2, write-ins none. Board of Education, 5th Education District, Sherry Chesser, 19, write-ins none. City Commissioner, City of Mackville, Bill Floyd, none. Linda Anderson, 1. Nathan Cochran, none. Heather Reynolds, none. Write-ins, none. City Council, City of Springfield, Michael Hale, 1. Daniel Bishop, 1. Lance Smith, 2. John Pettis, 1. Joe Willie Ellery, 1. Carolyn Harden, 1. Write-ins, none. City Council, City of Willisburg, Herman Wade, Medellin, 20. Timothy Brent McAvoy, 34. Write-ins, 5. Constitutional Amendment number 1, yes, 490, no, 214. Constitutional Amendment number 2, yes, 270, no, 459. Question, Washington County Cannabis, yes, 447, no, 280. Question, Washington County Wet Dry, yes, 458, no, 281. The counter votes show total ballots cast 757. Let's see. Okay. General election held North Washington School, election day voting. The ballot count is 170. Straight party ticket. The Republican Party, 76. Democratic Party, 11. Kentucky Party, 4. The Libertarian Party, none. President of the United States, Donald Trump, 143. Kamala Harris, 23. Jim Stein, 3. Robert Kennedy, none. Shiva Aladurai, none. Chase Oliver, 1. Write-ins, none. United States Representative in Congress, 1st Congressional District, James Comer, 139. Aaron Marshall, 26. Write-ins, none. State Representative, 5th Representative District, Kim King, 141. Katrina Sexton, 25. Write-ins, 1. Commonwealth's Attorney, 11th Judicial Circuit, Shelley Miller, 145. Write-ins, none. Circuit Clerk, Joanne Mudd Miller, 85. Write-ins, 2. County Surveyor, write-ins, 2. Constable, 1st Magisterial District, write-ins, 3. Constable, 2nd Magisterial District, write-ins, 3. Constable, 3rd Magisterial District, write-ins, 1. Constable, 4th Magisterial District, no votes. Constable, 6th Magisterial District, no votes. Member Board of Education, 3rd Education District, Raymond S. Canterbury, 17. Write-ins, 1. Member Board of Education, 4th Education District, Carissa Harley, no votes. Write-ins, no votes. Member Board of Education, 5th Education District, Sherry Chesser, 7 votes. Write-ins, none. City Commissioners of the City of Mackville, William Floyd, none. Linda Anderson, none. Nathan Cochran, none. Heather Reynolds, none. Write-ins, none. City Council, City of Springfield, Michael Hale, none. Daniel Bishop, 1. Lance Smith, none. John Pettis, none. Joe Willie Ellery, none. Carolyn Harden, none. Write-ins, none. City Council, City of Willisburg, Herman Wade Medellin is 3. Timothy Brent McAvoy, 8. Write-ins, 3. Constitutional Amendment number 1. Yes, 101. No, 58. Constitutional Amendment number 2. Yes, 61. No, 104. Question, Washington County cannabis, yes, 95, no, 66. Question, Washington, wet or dry, yes, 100, no, 64. Again, the total ballots cast, 170. Kick off. Y'all hold up now. Open it.
Okay, Carol Kelly giving us a marathon run there of
Well done,
numbers
sir.
that we could get tabulated for you. So one thing's for sure, if he needs a glass of water or a glass of bourbon, he'll be able to get that in Willisburg later on. But some of the numbers that we're seeing coming in on the wet dry vote for here in Washington County. All kidding aside, though, let's talk about a couple that we do know right now. John, you've been keeping up with the presidential race. We know that the numbers here in Washington County for the presidential race are similar to what we're seeing in Kentucky.
Yeah, look at and you all can't see on TV that I have an iPad in my lap, an iPad in front of me, and I'm checking my phone. So looking at the numbers, AP, most of the news wires have called Kentucky for President Trump, or former President Trump, excuse me. Indiana has also been called for former President Trump, and also on about 4 of them, South Carolina have. So, and then when you look at the numbers here in Kentucky on President Trump, the presidential race, Washington County really, in the early results, with 6% reporting statewide, really mimicked those with about a 72 to 26 split.
Nationally, I've heard some saying Friday or Saturday before we find out who the president of the United States will be.
And I think it's going to be that
knows?
close when you get into Pennsylvania and some of these margins that it may be the weekend before they can truly call some of this stuff because of just the sheer massive amount of votes. I'm looking at, we still have a voting center left, and that is Mikeville.
That's correct.
We've already had 60% of Washington County vote,
That's correct.
61.5%. That's a phenomenally big turnout for Washington County.
It could be one of the largest ever. Roger, let's go right to you. U.S. State Representative for Congress, 1st Congressional District, Republican James Comer is going to be serving another tenure in that office.
Exactly. The race has been called for the state of Kentucky. James Comer, the incumbent, right now with a big lead, he's at 67.5%. But also another interesting race for parts of Nelson County for the U.S. Representative in Congress race in the 2nd District with Brett Guthrie and Hal Linderman. Guthrie with a huge lead at 74.8% statewide, but that race continues. It hasn't been called. And you know, an interesting point, we were talking about the presidential race and the numbers. Trump carried Kentucky in 2020 and 2016 with 64% of the vote. And although it's still early in the evening, but right now he is just a tad over 70% of the vote. So he's performing.
Similar to the numbers we're seeing here
Yes.
in Washington County.
What about we give Mr. Kelly the microphone again? For
I think so. Our
last one?
final precinct has came in. That'll be the Macville Community Center. Let's go to Carol Kelly, who will read you those numbers.
Election, Washington County, Macville Community Center, ballot counter 147. Straight party ticket, Republican Party 56 votes, Democratic Party 9, Kentucky Party 1, Libertarian Party none. President of the United States, Donald J. Trump 126, Kamala Harris 19, Jill Stein none, Robert Kennedy Jr. 2, Sevilla Iradurai none, Chase Oliver none, write-ins none. United States Representative, 1st Congressional District, James Comer, 128, Aaron Marshall, 14, no write-ins. State Representative, 55th Representative District, Kim King, 119, Katrina Sexton, 23, no write-ins. Commonwealth's Attorney, 11th Judicial Circuit, Shelley Miller, 121, no write-ins. Circuit Court Clerk, Joanne Mudd Miller, 79, no write-ins. County Surveyor, 6 write-ins. Constable, 1st Magisterial District, no write-ins. Constable, 2nd Magisterial District, 1 write-in. Constable, 3rd Magisterial District, 8 write-ins. Constable, 4th Magisterial District, no write-ins. Constable, 6th Magisterial District, no write-ins. Member Board of Education, 3rd Education District, Raymond S. Canterbury, 59 votes, no write-ins. Member Board of Education, 4th Education District, Carissa D. Harley, no votes. Write-ins, no votes. Member Board of Education, 5th Education District, Sherry A. Chesser, 6 votes. Write-ins, none. City of Mackerel Commissioner, William Bill Cloyd, 22. Linda Anderson, 17. Nathan Cochran, 22. Heather Reynolds, 19. Write-ins, none. City Council, Springfield, Michael Hale, none. Daniel Bishop, none. Lance Smith, none. John Pettis, none. Joe Willie Ellery, none. Carolyn Harden, none. No write-ins. City Council, City of Willisburg, Herman Wade, Medellin, none. Timothy Brent McAvoy, 1. No write-ins. Constitutional Amendment number 1, yes, 96, no, 40. Constitutional Amendment number 2, yes, 48, no, 93. Question, Washington County Cannabis, yes, 85, no, 57. Question, Washington Wet or Dry, yes, 86, no, 60. All right, I believe this is the last one. General election, Macville Community Center, 206 votes on the ballot counter. Straight party, the Republicans had 82 straight party ticket votes. Democrats 20, Kentucky Party none, Libertarian Party none. President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, 169 votes. Kamala Harris, 32 votes. Jill Stein, 1 vote. Robert Kennedy, 2 votes. Shavia Ardurai, no votes. Chase Oliver, no votes. Write-ins, 1 vote. United States Representative in Congress, 1st Congressional District, James Comer, 168 votes. Aaron Marshall, 33 votes. Write-ins, none. State Representative, 55th Representative District, Kim King, 167. Katrina Sexton, 36. Write-ins, none. The Commonwealth's Attorney, 11th Judicial Circuit, Shelley Miller, 165 votes. Write-ins, 1. Circuit Clerk, Joanne Mudd Miller, 121 votes. Write-ins, 1. County Surveyor, write-ins, 9. Constable, 1st Magisterial District, write-ins, 1. Constable, 2nd Magisterial District, write-ins, 2. Constable, 3rd Magisterial District, write-ins, 10. Constable, 4th Magisterial District, write-ins, 1. Constable, 6th Magisterial Districts, write-ins, none. Member Board of Education, 3rd Education District, Raymond S. Canterbury, 84 votes. Write-ins, none. Member Board of Education, 4th Education District, Carissa D. Harley, 1. Write-ins, none. Member Board of Education, 5th Education District, Sherry Chesser, 18 write-ins, 1. City Commissioner, City of Macville, William Bill Cloyd, 21. Linda Anderson, 21. Nathan Cochran, 20. Heather Reynolds, 21. Write-ins, none. City Council, City of Springfield, Michael Hale, none. David Bishop, none. Lance Smith, none. John Pettis, none. Joe Willie, none. Carolyn Harden, none. Write-ins, none. City Council, City of Willisburg, Herman Medlin, none. Timothy McAvoy, none. Write-ins, none. Constitutional Amendment, yes, 123 votes, no, 61. Constitutional Amendment number 2, yes, 77, no, 121. Washington County Cannabis question, yes, 108, no, 90. Question, Washington County Wet Dry, yes, 113, no, 90. And the public and the counter total votes cast 206. I believe that is the end.
So again, we thank Carol Kelly for announcing all the precincts this evening, the early voting, the absentee votes, that we've been able to tabulate, and we're going to be having those numbers as you'll see them coming up at the bottom of the screen, as we right now have 6 of 7 of the precincts reported, or 6 or 7 of the numbers that we have. The last one he just read, again, the Mackville Community Center. And John, again, we want to tell everyone about what we do know, and we do know the percentages for Donald Trump are very similar, only throughout the state of Kentucky that we're hearing right now, but they've already, the Associated Press said that Trump has won the state of Kentucky.
The polls closed in Kentucky at 7 o'clock on the dot. The Associated Press, and I use Decision Desk on Twitter, they called it at 7:03. Rightfully so. I mean, the numbers here at Washington County are emblematic of the state, and it's looking 70-ish% for former President Trump here in Kentucky.
And Roger, we also want to pass along that it's already been announced that Jamie Comer, U.S. State Representative in Congress, 1st Congressional District, has defeated his Democratic opponent, Aaron Marshall, handily here this evening.
Exactly. At this point, Comer with 66% of the vote, and it's also been called, guys, that Brett Guthrie has won his race for U.S. Representative in the 2nd Congressional District, which includes parts nearby Nelson County. So the race has been called for Guthrie as well.
Used to include Washington County.
It did, yeah. Before they redistricted, it used to include Washington County, all except the East Texas community. Poor old precinct out there where Hal Good lives. He left us out. I always kid him about that. When they came in with the numbers, they left him out. And Comer was our representative for about 3 years. But nevertheless, Guthrie back in again. And also where you can see the numbers being reported on the state representative in the 55th representative district. That does include Washington County, Mercer, and portions of Jessamine. We've reached out to Kim King, and she said maybe one of her team might get with us. If you're on Facebook and you do have some numbers, make sure to let us know if you have some numbers from Mercer or from Jessamine, because right now Kim King is really just running away with close to 70% of the votes over her opponent, Katrina A. Sexton, John.
And the way that district works out, even if Katrina Sexton was to carry Mercer, where Kim King is from, there's so big of a gap here in Washington County alone that
You got those numbers pulled up there?
I do. The gap here in Washington County, Kim King's got 4 unofficial. Everything we give is unofficial, and Brett's going to come back down and talk to us momentarily. Kim King with 4,762 votes to Katrina Sexton's 1,431, and if you just math it, there's not enough votes. She would have to win Mercer and all of Wilmore just to overcome
all that Jessamine
that
County
gap,
area
that
to
gap.
overcome that gap.
Yep.
That's for sure. You can see the Trump. You can see right now. You had the Trump a moment ago. Comer. A lot of these percentages that we're seeing come across, and now this is with 7 precincts all reported. These are the unofficial numbers that we have right now. But again, I think a lot of folks you've talked to, no real surprise. All these numbers are in the 70 percentile. Roger, King at 75% right there.
Exactly, and looking at the national map for the presidential race, how we talked about Trump. It's already been declared. Kentucky, also Indiana. Trump wins Indiana, and also West Virginia. That's been called so far, and Kamala Harris. It's been declared. Vermont. Declared for Kamala Harris so far.
One quick point I want to make is I went back and looked at the 2020 results and pulled those. Donald Trump in Washington County got 4,482 votes, and Joe Biden got 1,644. You're within 100 votes. Actually, Trump got about 300 votes more, but very, very similar numbers to what we saw 4 years ago in that presidential race.
Let's talk for a moment, since we're seeing these numbers, and we can already tell you officially that the questions that were asked Washington Countyans about are you in favor of the sale of medical cannabis at a licensed dispensary and the operation of other cannabis businesses in Washington County, overwhelmingly, John, in favor of that.
3,919 yes votes on that one, 1,957. And I honestly, in the conversations I've been having, I didn't know how that one would go, but Washington County, they came out in force on that one.
Overwhelming, I should say a landslide.
I would agree.
For that one. And also, really, I think a landslide also, Roger, on the question for the Washington County wet and dry. Are you in favor of the sale of alcoholic beverages in Washington County? Over 70% in favor of that in Washington County.
Yeah, and the folks that I've been talking to here in Washington County, they were for it because, I could kind of see this one coming just from the people that I've talked to over here wanting it and saying they were going to vote for it. So that's not really, John, a shocker to me.
I don't think it's a shocker. I think the only shocker is the gap. Former President Trump and Bourbon got about the same amount of votes.
And I stand corrected, 69% of Washington Countyans voted in favor of that. And not a lot of talk about that anymore. When you're driving down the street, it used to be you would see the horses in the bluegrass, and now you're going to see the rick houses.
And for better or worse. And there's people on both sides of that.
I've always said, that I've heard the governor talk about it many times when I worked in Frankfurt, that there are just a tad over 4 million people in the state of Kentucky, and there's about 4.2 million barrels of bourbon that are in rick houses all over the state of Kentucky. So we have more barrels of bourbon than we do in rick houses than we do have people in Kentucky. But again, a big tourism, a lot of tourism talk about that in Washington County to get that passed, and it seemed like that did work. Quickly, gentlemen, let's talk about our constitutional amendments. Again, amendments that came in. Number one was the state constitution changing to allow taxpayer dollars, that amendment number two. Amendment number one was the amendment, the policy of the office of Michael Adams, talking about the State Board of Elections and our county clerks. Non-citizens are not permitted to vote in any Kentucky election. So a change in constitutional amendment number one, adding some different sections there that no person who is not a citizen of the United States shall be allowed to vote in this state. And again, an overwhelming yes in Washington County.
And how that's just been called for Kentucky, that it passes.
So it does pass it.
Yes.
So that is a yes. Constitutional amendment number two, a little bit more discussion on that one, John. And as I was saying about it a moment ago, Constitution changing to allow taxpayer dollars to be used to fund private or charter schools.
And there's been a lot of discussion, and you see the difference in the voters. And as I'm looking at the totals between the four amendments, that one is a no vote here in Washington County, 3,329, but a much closer margin than the other three amendments, with the no votes being 2,296. And if you look at that one on a statewide, with 21% in, no at 64, just over 64%, and the yes over 35. So that's well on its way, it looks like, to being called, as that amendment will be defeated.
Let's talk a little bit, if we can, about some of the other sections of Washington County that were affected that we've talked about in this election coverage this evening that really had no opposition, and we talked about it earlier. But I think Springfield City Council, we did give you the number of votes that we had from the precincts available for the city of Springfield. And John, I know you've got some of those pulled up right now, but all the individuals that ran for the city of Springfield will be sworn in coming up in January.
6 people serve on the city council here in Washington, or in Springfield, and 6 people put their name in the hat to do that. The top vote getter, and that's kind of what I look at in an uncontested race, was Michael Hale with 686 votes in that race.
Now the city commissioner, city of Mackville, same way. The 4 commissioners there will also still be the 4 that will serve Mackville.
56 for Bill Cloyd, 52 for Linda Anderson. Nathan Cochran got 54, and Heather Reynolds got 51.
City of Willisburg City Council, a little bit different. They have at least 6 that could possibly run. They had 2 that did run, 1 write-in, with it being Judy Stein, I understand, that was official. But they'll be nominating Wanda Thompson, the mayor of Willisburg, will be working with her city council, as I believe city council will have the first steps in nominating who will fill the rest of those slots.
Yes. Looks like, and I don't have those numbers. Yes, yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, Herman Wade, Meldon Jr., and Timothy Brett McAvoy will be the other 2 that will join.
34 votes for Mendelin Jr., and McAvoy got 66 votes.
Okay. Now, a lot of uncontested votes we want to go on and talk about. Commonwealth's Attorney, 11 Judicial Circuit, Shelley Miller, no opposition. Circuit Clerk, Joanne Mudmiller, had no opposition. We look on through some of the other races. John, make sure if I miss any to let me know. Of course, we had the school board race. Member of the school board, 3rd Educational District, Raymond Canterbury, no opposition. We have 4th Educational District for the school board, Carissa D. Harley, no opposition. And 5th Educational District, Sherry A. Chesser, no opposition.
Yes, so those were decided several weeks ago when nobody else decided to run.
So we start looking at this election, and John, as we're winding up, we know we want to set up a couple of interviews. So you or I, one, are going to draw the short straw, and the other one will ad lib. So you can go either way. Which one do you want to go?
I'll go. You
I'll send
talk.
you. You can get our guy Sean over there, and Roger and I'll finish up our coverage here. If you want to move that chair back, Roger and I'll scoot in here, and we'll finish things up again. Thanks for tuning into our coverage on G&G this evening. We've been at the Washington County Courthouse. It's a historic courthouse in downtown Springfield, 1816 courthouse, bringing you this election coverage. I like working with Roger. Roger, in the day, we worked for WMQQ. I saw Ed O'Daniel over there, one of the previous owners, still kind of hooked on this. But it's always something about election coverage, as we're seeing some of the numbers under us go by, always something about local elections that just kind of stay in your blood. You kind of feed off of them.
Oh, and it's so great for G&G to bring the live coverage for Washington County. And how, real quick, we've got some numbers from Marion County, that Loretto
go ahead, yeah.
commissioner's
let's
race.
go ahead.
Where,
and we knew that was one of the contested races
yeah,
over there.
there are 4 open seats and 5 people vying for those 4 seats.
Go ahead with those numbers you got.
Right now, we've got Josh Ballard at 251, Eddie Smith at 191, Diane Mattingly, 189, Connie Mattingly, 178, and Lenny Nally at 175. Again, you've got 5 people running for those 4 seats.
So that's the only contested race in Marion County. We did do coverage for Marion County in the spring as we had a circuit clerk position that we had contested. But other than that, really, it's just similar to what we had here. James Comer with opposition naturally, and of course the president's race with opposition. But we're hearing the same type of numbers all around the state for especially those 2 positions.
Yeah,
Sarge Pollock, who's the representative for both Marion and Taylor, had no opposition during this election. So those were the 2 main ones.
Right, and there were races over there for Bradfordsville City Commissioners, but 4 seats, and you have 4 people that ran for those, and also Lebanon City Council. 6 seats open, but 6 people running for those seats.
So yeah, you have some of that. And we do
Right.
kind of see that. One thing I wanted to mention, while we're still talking election coverage, and we'll be talking in just a few moments with Brett Berry, the Washington County Clerk, as we finish things up. John Graves, we bring you that. We are going to be able to bring you next year. There's no elections. There's not going to be anything. No spring, no fall. But come in 26, it's going to be a full slate of elections going on, especially the local races, Roger, will be coming up in 2026. And we, with G&G, hope to be right on the front end of that to bring you, we're hoping to do some really big coverage for that locally in the area.
Exactly, expanding not only from Washington County, but hopefully Nelson County and over in Marion County. So big things to come on G&G.
So we'll be keeping you up to date with that. Again, there'll be a lot of things to follow as that comes in. I'm going to go over here to John Graves just for a minute. John is preparing for a race. But John, this governor's race that is coming up, of course, a lot of talk right now about maybe Jacqueline Coleman, the lieutenant governor, being coming in and running for governor. But also James Comer is a name that you'll hear a lot of, that he's going to put his name in the bucket for that job. So we'll talk more about that later. John has got an interview with Washington County Clerk Brett Berry. Let's go to John now.
Thanks, Hal. Brett, long day, long week. And anymore, it's not even a long day, it's a long week. Several weeks as you prepare. You get a year off next year.
Yes.
And I'm sure you're excited about that.
That's kind of what's gotten us through now.
Before we kind of talk some of the just procedural stuff, you're the clerk, you organize this, but your staff, and there's a whole group of people that help you all make sure this goes off without a hitch.
From day one, yeah, the girls upstairs and then we've got HQI, Sean Mattingly. He is helping with 2 crews set up for taking the machines out, bringing them back. And I'm not really even sure what time it is at this point. I feel like it's super early.
How about
It's not even
7:50?
8 o'clock. So everybody is back. All the equipment is back. They're unloading now. So this, for such a huge turnout,
Right.
for everything to go as it has. Our poll workers are amazing. So it's been good. It's been a really good day.
County board members are pretty good too.
They're okay.
They're okay.
When you spend 12 hours with them, yeah, you talk a lot. You learn a lot.
So roughly, we had figured about 67% was the turnout here in Washington County with the
Yes.
voter numbers you gave us. There was one thing that come up today, and you and I kind of talked about it off air. You know, everybody's free and fair public elections, and
Right.
and one way to do that is to read the results out loud, like we do here in Washington County. But explain to me what happened with one of the early voting machines today.
So, of course, the absentee machines, they can only be shut down, at 6 o'clock. We get the results going. We had one of our machines from the 6-day early voting that wouldn't read. It kept saying the V drive, just a malfunction. So we immediately called our vendor, Harp, got on the phone with them. They said basically they walked us through it.
Right.
So for the first time that I can remember, we actually had to get a court order from the circuit judge. And I thought, oh my goodness. But all in all, we made 2 phone calls. Joanne Miller, who was the circuit clerk, she answered on the first ring. She got in touch with Judge Spalding. We talked what was going on. So basically when that happens, we cannot open the machines. Once
Right.
the ballots are cast, we cannot touch, we cannot break those seals without a court order. So in this case, we got that court order. We got a spare machine, got it programmed, rescanned all of those ballots, the whole board, we were all present and tallied. It was as wild as it was in the beginning. It
sure.
was smooth. It was great. So it was a learning experience for sure.
And one of the reasons I wanted to highlight that is, that people think that these things happen behind closed doors, but there's processes and procedures for everything that happens on election day.
Absolutely.
For these reasons, and things come up, and that's what happens. But it's important to your office and and to our viewers that every vote is counted correctly.
And then, every piece of paperwork, everything that we do, I take it in front of the grand jury after every election. So even the grand jury, they go through all the process of looking at everything. So there's no secrets. There's errors that are fixable,
Right.
and we document everything. So it is, you just make sure everything is good and everybody's on the same page.
And there is an audit that's happening next week.
It's actually on Thursday.
On Thursday.
For the first time, the state, we are doing every county is doing a hand-to-eye audit. So one machine will be selected and by the State Board of Elections.
Right.
And then on that day, we will hand-to-eye audit with 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and of course, the board and myself will also be present. So that's kind of cool, just to ensure the security and the success and that everything is great. How you voted is what's reported.
Last couple little technical things. Everything we have tonight is unofficial. Everything you produce tonight is unofficial. When will the vote in Washington County be official?
Comfortably, we'll have it tallied and official by the morning.
Okay. And then Secretary of State certifies that from
Yes.
here?
Yes.
So everything's unofficial tonight. These guys have been up since about 4 this morning, and they're tired. But they begrudgingly will come down here and talk to me and do an interview with me. Brett, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate
And
it.
one more thing, it's a great opportunity to thank everybody behind the scenes. I think we touched on that in the beginning. But the poll workers, even the voters, it was flawless. Everybody was just great. My girls upstairs, it was good. It makes it encouraging to do it again.
Well, and and again, we thank you for having us come down
Yes, you all are
to
wonderful.
broadcast this. And it takes a village to bring these results, and this is part of the just the public nature of voting in
Yes,
2024.
it's good. Thank you all.
Your county clerk here in Washington County, Brett Berry. Hal, we'll send it back over to you.
Well, there's no question we need to thank Brett Berry. She has really been a great partner of ours, and all the way from the very start, she not only partnered with G&G, but she partnered with the people of Washington County to get the vote out. She was out there. She was telling people to come and vote. She's giving them reasons to vote. She talked about the early voting, which, nationally, the early voting has really been a huge success. We want to give you an update on Marion and Nelson County. We got a couple of things. So listen up. We got a couple of things. Roger's been working on that with some of his contacts. Roger, did you have anywhere you want to start as far as maybe what some of the folks have told you?
Well, we'll rerun those numbers for Loretto.
Okay, it's got 11. We got got a Loretto City Council
Yes.
race that is contested, and we've been watching that throughout the evening. Go ahead, Roger.
Yeah, 4 seats open, 5 people running. Josh Ballard at 251 votes, Eddie Smith at 191, Diane Mattingly 189, Connie Mattingly 178, and Lenny McNally at 175. Again, 4 seats are open, 5 people running there in Loretto. And real quickly, Hal, for Nelson County, a few things to pass along. Amendment 1, the number of yes votes double the no votes. Amendment 2, the number of no votes doubles the yes votes so far. A big lead in the yes votes for the cannabis question for Nelson County. Also, a lot of yes votes in Bardstown for the cannabis question leading there. And then for city council, the top 3 vote getters so far, Coach Roe Williams, Joe Buckman, and Bill Shekels. And then what a lot of people are talking about over there, how the school board for a member for the Nelson County Board of Education. First off, in the 2nd district between Diane Berry and Jody Gillian with a big lead there, and also in the 5th district between Nicole Milburn and Karen Lee. Karen Lee leads that as well for Nelson County Board of Education.
So very interesting. Again, we'll be keeping you up to date as our numbers, and we encourage you when we keep you up to date. That means you can go back and watch this on YouTube and watch it on Facebook, share it with your friends, and share it with anyone as far as the numbers we're keeping. Again, official numbers will be due out tomorrow morning toward the end of the week, possibly depending on nationally what happens. We'll be able to tell you more about some of the presidential race and who's going to be our next president. But as you can see, we have already announced Comer being elected for the U.S. state rep, and you saw the numbers there for Kim King for the state representative 55th district. It would have to be a total upset in Mercer and Jessamine for King to get beat. We have not got those numbers back in yet, Roger, but unsurpassable as far as what I can see.
Exactly. And when we talk about national races, I think we're in for a long night on that, Hal. Maybe a few days.
Could possibly be a few days, that's for sure. Well, we do want to thank Washington County Fiscal Court Tim Graves. We want to thank Washington County Clerk Brett Berry. Those folks that wanted to bring us in to help bring this back to you, so you have live and free coverage. You don't pay for this. It's live and free, exactly from the voting machine into Carol Kelly's hands, where he reads it to you, into what we can put into a computer and bring you these numbers. So there's nothing where anyone else is tainting the numbers we are passing along to you. These are numbers that we are getting for you right here on the spot in the courthouse. So we're glad that we can bring that to you. Also want to thank our crew. We got a great crew that works with us in a lot of the things we do with high school sports. Going to go to the trailer first of all. Matt Smith, we appreciate you. Matthew, what you do. Also Ben Augustin, we appreciate you coming on board working with us. Maddie Carpenter up here doing a wonderful job in keeping up with the numbers. Sean Allen, he's been a guy that comes in, sets us up right there to help us with this production this evening. John Graves for his expertise. Roger Gribbins, love working with him. He's back with us on this election coverage and much more as we move forward. But we want to thank you for tuning in this evening. And again, like and share this broadcast, as you can share this with any of your friends from around the world that want to keep up with how the polls were in Washington County. For our crew on G&G Productions from the historic courthouse in downtown Springfield, Hal B. Good wishing you and yours a pleasant evening. So long, everybody.